Greetings Taborians and welcome to another video tutorial. This time we are going to be taking a look at how to tier equipment using the Arcane Transmutor. Now while this uses some of the same principles as adding stats to equipment, there are some definite differences. I do want to say before we get started that this video is only showing you the basics on how to tier something. I'm giving you the basics, that way you guys can go out there and learn some more advanced techniques, that way you can tier up items more appropriately for your level and your gear. I would also highly suggest hitting up the official forums on tips on advanced techniques on tiering items. So since we are going to be using the Arcane Transmutor for this, we are first going to need to acquire some Arcane Transmutor charges. I'm opening up the item shop, coming over here to consumables, clicking on must-haves, and I am going to purchase a few Arcane Transmutor charges here. That way I make sure that I have plenty. Okay, so now I'm going to open my Arcane Transmutor here. You can see I have 8 charges in there already. Going to open my backpack, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on these charges here, and now I have 38 charges in my Arcane Transmutor. I'm not going to need that many, but it's always nice to have extra charges. Okay, let's go ahead and close the transmutor for now. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is get some fusion stones. Now this process is a little bit different than adding stats, because we are going to be adding what's called dirty stats, as in stats that we really don't want but we have to use in order to tier the weapon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to this NPC right here, Moto Prole, who is in the Delanis Central District. Now I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to find the cheapest fusion stones that this guy sells. Now it doesn't matter really which ones I get because I'm not interested in adding the stats. We're only going to be using these for tiering. Now I have to buy 9 of these fusion stones. Again, it doesn't matter which ones I'm really getting because I'm just using them to tier. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to walk over to this light armor merchant, and I'm going to find the cheapest thing that he has to sell, which looks like this fine leather belt that's only 356 gold. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to buy 9 of these fine leather belts, so that way I can turn all of these into mana stones. Okay, now that I have all my materials, I can open my Arcane Transmutor, and one by one I am going to drop these fusion stones in here with a belt to create a tier 3 mana stone. Now again, don't worry about the stats on this. So let's go ahead and click confirm. And I don't need this mana stone just yet, so I'm going to drag it over here in my backpack, and I am going to repeat this process for each one of these pieces until I have 9 tier 3 mana stones. Okay, I now have 9 tier 3 mana stones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag 3 of these in here, and now you can see in the preview that will give me a tier 4 mana stone. So I'm going to go ahead and click confirm. And again, I don't need this just yet, so I'm going to drag it back to my backpack. And I'm going to move 3 more tier 3 mana stones in there. You can see now we have another tier 4. And one final time, drag these 3 in here. And now I have 3 tier 4 mana stones. Now, if I drag all of these mana stones in here, just as with the process before, if we have 3 of all the same tier, it's going to give us a tier up. So if I use these 3 together, I would make 1 tier 5. But for now, we just want to get this bow from tier 3 to tier 4. So I'm going to drag it in here. And now you can see in the preview that the burning bow now has a boost in its stats from what it had before. So now it has 493 damage, 0.7 damage, as you see in the preview. I'll take this off and I'll show you that without it, it only has 448.8 damage. Thus is the reason why you want to tier up your items. So there you go, guys. That is the basics on how to tier pieces of equipment. Hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for future video tutorials.